I wanted to give everybody a look at this newly released Christian Standard Bible in a verse-by-verse layout. So the CSB has been out as the Christian Standard Bible since 2017. It's an update of the Holman Christian Standard Bible. And they've had some wonderful layouts, but this is the first time they've had a verse-by-verse layout. The edition that I'm showing you today is a Black Goatskin Leather. So CSB has finally entered into what would be called the premium Bible market, which was highly desired by those who like the CSB. They had seen other Bibles and other translations put out in very high quality editions, and the CSB had some pretty good editions, I mean genuine leather, but nothing that could be considered premium until now. So this is a premium level Bible. The nice thing though is that even though we're going to be looking here at some very good quality, it's not going to be a Bible that costs like some do in the near $200 range. This is going to be a Bible you can get for probably under $100. So right off the bat, it comes in a really beautiful box. You see that here. This box, I love it, and it really says a lot about what you're seeing in this Bible. It is kind of a nice, minimalistic, elegant look to it, I think, and yet it looks very modern, contemporary, really beautiful. So just a great combination of something that looks classic and yet looks so up-to-date and fashionable. I love it. So that's the CSB logo. When we get to the back of the box here, you'll see the information about this Bible. Here's some more information. You see here the ISBN number. It is retailing for about $150. It is worth definitely around that amount, but you can definitely get it for less than $150. So it's a really good deal. This is high quality. It's definitely in that premium level of Bible, but not so expensive that you're scared to use it or bring it places. So let's take a look at the outside here. I'm not the first to give a review, but I will just show you things from my first perspective here. And first of all, I have to say this goatskin, really, for this price point, around $100, is some of the nicest goatskin. I will compare it quickly here to a Nelson Premier Collection First Edition Black Goatskin New King James. And this goatskin is just really flexible and soft, has a soft feel to it, but it is pretty thin. The goatskin in the CSB has a more pronounced grain to it, and it just has a more coarse and thicker, heftier feel to it. So if you're holding them, the first edition Nelson was very floppy. You can see that. And this one here, even though it's a little bit wider in its dimensions, it actually isn't quite so floppy. It's a little bit firmer and yet still very supple. So I love that combination. Very flexible and yet firm enough to where it's not too floppy. The newer edition that I have of the Nelson Premier is a little bit more like this. The brown goatskin has a little bit more firm feel. So I would say it's kind of in between those two. And it's also not quite as stiff or thick as what I have in the Schuyler Quentel. And I know each Bible is different. It really just depends on the particular goatskin that you have. But I would say this is kind of between the Nelson Premier First Edition and the Schuyler Quentel in terms of kind of how thick and hefty it feels, but it's more toward that Quentel feel. It is really nice goatskin. perimeter stitched, you can see. The spine, I think, was a really neat design to go with the etched spine hubs. And then just a really balanced look. You have 4 things on the side here in these 4 different sections. And so I just think it's not too much, it's just enough. You do have the emblem for the CSB, Holy Bible. Then it clearly says it's the Christian Standard Bible. And then the brand, Holman. So I like that. It's very balanced looking and gives you just enough information. It is both that classic, elegant, kind of a fancy look, but also kind of modern. And that's really a theme with this Bible, both classic and modern. And you see that just in the design on the outside, but you'll see that on the inside as well. The liner here, I'm not sure what that is, but it's very similar to what you have in the Nelson and Zondervan Premier Collection. It's a very nice liner. You have that gilt line around the edge. And the text block was laid very evenly in here. So you can see the gilt line all around. It frames the Bible very nicely. You have gold on the side there, and a little bit of a red hue art gilt underneath the gold. Although it's not very pronounced, it's actually quite hard to see, but it is there. And then we also have 3 ribbons. They're not extremely wide ribbons, but they're definitely sufficient. They're straight cut. One is black, one gold, one red. So a nice color scheme to this. It is also edge-lined and smith-sewn, so it's going to be very durable, and that's expected. You want that if you're going to pay money for a premium Bible. You want that edge lining for reinforcement and a smith-sewn binding, and you're going to get that. Presentation page, again, looks really nice and well done, kind of classic looking. But then here you see more of this elegant look, I think, in the way they designed this font for this Bible. Copyright page, and what you'll see is this was printed in China this year, and so I think this is the first printing. The copyright for this edition is 2020, but the Christian Standard Bible is 2017. Here are the contents and the books of the Bible. Again, everything here just has a real elegant, fancy kind of a look to it compared to some of the former Christian Standard Bible editions. There's the introduction to the Christian Standard Bible. Commonly used abbreviations. And the Old Testament title page. Really nice use of accenting. You're seeing that more and more. This has the red print there for the Old Testament. Little flower as a decoration. And then you also have that same thing with the book titles. Red print with the flower for decoration. And then the headings, the creation is in black. The chapter numbers and verse numbers are in red, and the text of the Bible is in black. It's 2-column verse by verse. It is a, I believe, 10-point font designed by 2K Denmark. What I love about the font for the CSB is it's very readable, but it's also efficient use of space. And I think this font looks great in different editions. In the other editions that I've seen of the CSB, I've always said good things about this font. And in this edition, it looks great too. When it's in the verse-by-verse format, when it has really the alternate font for the book titles and the headings, it just is a very versatile font, very readable. It is line matched. The chapter and verse numbers that the notes correspond to are in red, and then the references themselves are in black. And then the footnotes on the bottom, and the CSB has wonderful footnotes. So this Bible is very, very well designed. It could be used really easily for teaching and preaching as well as personal study. You have great space. It is considered more of a wide margin. And so I just think this is so wonderfully designed. Again, versatile is probably the word I want to use to sum up what this Bible is. It's not huge, but it's definitely on the large side. So that's actually good if you want to be able to have something that you can teach from that has good size font. You can see easily, you can write in it. And they give good margin space not only on the outer margins, but even in the gutter here, you have good margin space. Maybe not so great for writing, but enough to get the text more out onto the page to make it visually easier to read the text and also to underline and it be nice and flat. When we get into poetic books of the Bible, like the Psalms, it's still just in a verse-by-verse format. There's no stanza setting there, but that's fine. It's a lot like the King James traditionally has been. It's just simple verse by verse, even in the Psalms and Proverbs. There's a view of the Book of Lamentations, and I love how they have the Hebrew headings here, the Hebrew letters for the headings of the sections of these chapters. So that's a really great example of some of the features of the Christian Standard Bible. Just such a well-done translation. Getting to the end of the Old Testament, and now we have the New Testament title page. Again, just such a nice, straightforward, clean, beautiful, elegant look to it. The book of Matthew. This is not a red letter text. As far as the text itself, even the words of Jesus are going to be in black letter. Now, some people do like red letter, but for teaching and preaching and being in different types of lighting, it's really kind of nice to be able to just have consistent black letter text. So that's what you're going to have in this Bible. Getting to the end of the Bible here, afterward we have a table of weights and measures. Nice concordance, and some really nicely printed maps. These are actually on more of a cardstock matte finish paper, so they're not glossy. Very colorful and very clearly printed. Very nice maps, and then cardstock on the back here, and that's the end of the Bible. So I would love to compare this to some other Bibles, but since this video has already gone kind of long, I'm just going to leave it here as a first look at the CSB verse-by-verse layout, wide margin, Black Goatskin Leather Bible. Thank you so much for watching this review brought to you from a First Perspective.